The biggest mistake you can make in your life is not knowing yourself, or else you will suffer. And you may ask yourself, why will I suffer? You see in life, in your life, in our lives, we may walk around unconsciously, unconscious of our environments, unconscious of our own mind, our own breaths, our own taste of life. We're not tasting life, we're just consuming life. And when you walk around unconsciously, you may eat food that's bad for you, you may drink stuff that's bad for you, you may even engage in activities that are bad for you. You're doing these stuff unconsciously. And knowing yourself, you will not do this stuff. Easier said than done. But a very primitive creature. They eat when they're hungry, they sleep when they're sleepy, they drink when they're thirsty, they have sex when they're horny, they hunt when they need to hunt. A rat, for example, if you deprive them of certain minerals or certain vitamins, they will instinctively know which food to eat in order to fulfill their vitamin or mineral needs. And they are not knowing themselves, but they are realizing themselves. And in essence, they are knowing themselves, because a rat doesn't quarrel in how to be a rat, it simply is a rat. They already know themselves, but they are unconscious. They are primitive creatures. And they already know themselves. They do not need to quarrel in debates of philosophy or religion or spirituality and meditation. But they are very primitive creatures, very unconscious. But they know fully who they are, and they act accordingly. Such is the way of the nature. Such is the way of the animal. And when they do, they simply live in harmony, in peace, and they die when it's time to die. You see this with snakes, and you see this with certain animals. They already know when their time to die will come, so they lay down peacefully and just go away to the heavens, to the next life. You are not unconscious like a rat, but you're still unconscious. That's why you constantly disappoint yourself whenever you try a new diet. You may fail because unconsciously you're still very primitive. But there's a collide between our modern civilization and, well, you as this human being. If you had lived in the forest, then maybe you wouldn't be even quarreling in philosophy and spirituality and so on. But now you're here and you need to know yourself, or else you will suffer. Because unlike the rat, we can feel stuff, we can know stuff on a very deep level. We can take ourselves out of the context, out of certain context. We can imagine ourselves in different situations without us even being there. We can see into the future without knowing the future. Or, well, to the capacity that we plan, and thus we can see into the future. No one really knows how the future will end or begin, but we can make a very good guess. So we have these capabilities, still we suffer because we're not knowing ourselves. We're simply living our lives, trying to be primitive as possible, We go and do this, we go drink that, we go and engage in that. And we damage ourselves. Because truly, you're living like a primitive creature. But if you were true to your nature, true to your higher nature, which humans are very glorious creatures in the sense that we are capable of perceiving consciousness on a very deep level. We're able to pull out stuff from the unconscious. We have this capability, we have this capacity. And so we suffer because of it, because we are not knowing ourselves. When you know yourself, you will eat what needs to be eaten. You will eat a fruit when you have a certain need for a certain vitamin. You will eat a carrot because you lack a certain mineral. You will engage in a certain activity because you need movement, or you need to engage in a social activity. You will know these things instinctively when you know yourself. But now we're flooded with modernities like fast food, cakes, candy, websites, videos, easy access to comfort. So we limit ourselves. And so this primitive creature which seeks comfort, because that's in our deepest core, our survival mechanism is to seek comfort. When it's cold and rainy, what do we need to do? We need to find shelter. But we already have shelter, most of us. If you have the capabilities of watching this video, I presume that you have a warm shelter that you can go home to every night. That's what I presume. I could be wrong, but that's what I presume. So we already have this. What do we do now? Well, you can start by knowing yourself. You can journal these things, your activities. You need to write down your thoughts, whatever it may be. You need to engage in activities that both engage the mind but also the body. And writing is a superb example of this. When you journal, whatever it may be that circles around in your mind, you will know yourself. Because you will know your unconsciousness. And knowing your unconsciousness, you're able to reveal hidden talents, dark secrets, and more. We can also do this by meditating. When we meditate deeply, when we focus on our breaths, we get access to the unconsciousness. We also deactivate the brain in some sense. There are a lot of studies that have been done regarding brain scans on people who are avid meditators, who have meditated for a long time, for several years. They have scanned these brains and found that when they are engaged in deep meditation, the brain sort of deactivates. And thus they get access to the deeper parts of themselves. They get access to the body, the unconsciousness. Because the unconsciousness is rooted in our whole being. The unconsciousness is not some simple thing that's located in our brain. The unconsciousness is the nervous system, the endocrine system, your hormonal system, your gut system, your muscles, everything. Your body keeps a good record of history, of you. When you exercise, what happens? You get stronger. So your body knows it needs to get stronger, so thus it increases muscle mass. That's a record. That's a sort of a record in some sense, because the body knows in advance we need to put on muscle mass because this happened earlier and this will probably happen later on. So we need to get stronger. That's why our ancestors were probably very strong. That's why, these African tribesmen, they're very capable of running long distances because of their legs. And so the body keeps this record in the DNA, in the nervous system, and so on, and passes that on to the next generation, and so on. And that's the whole unconsciousness. Whenever you have a PTSD or a traumatic event happen to you, you will get stress. You will probably get inflammation in your body. You will feel aching. Unhappy people are more often very sick. They have aching joints, inflammation, tiredness, pain, physical pain I'm speaking of. And thus, by knowing yourself, you will know how to handle these things. When you write down your thoughts and meditate, you will get access to this unconscious part of yourself and reveal it. And when you reveal whatever is hidden inside of you, what happens? You know how to solve them. Because now you're wandering around life and thinking, how the hell do I solve this? How do I solve that? How do I solve this? That's because you do not know yourself. But by knowing yourself, you will solve this. You will find the solution to whatever ails you at the moment. And so I will end this video by saying to you, you need to write down your thoughts, not just like an ordinary diary. You can be anything, inner wisdom, thoughts, how you're feeling, what have you eaten. And meditate. Focus on the breath. Reveal yourself to yourself. And thus, you will find the solutions that you need. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for staying and listening to me. Make sure that you like and subscribe. And as always, be blessed.